Good morning, viewers, and welcome to a brand new week. It's the Economy and Politics Show, where we discuss around the economy, political developments, policies, and how they impact the populace in Nigeria. Viewers in Nigeria and across the world, it's October, very special day, 26th, 2020. Reeling through the unprecedented violence that escalated from the peaceful NSAS protests, which of course is widely believed to have been hijacked by hoodlums. The carnage, the destruction of properties, particularly in Lagos for those that reside in Lagos, was unbelievable. And this has spread to southern states and even the north, where you have Kaduna, even Kwara, and other parts of the country. Every governor, every political leader, every business man and woman, every citizen in the country has concerns and worries because of what happened last week. One of the key takeaways from this is the need once again to look at insurance, because infrastructure, institutions, businesses were affected from looting to destruction to arson, unprecedented, like I said earlier. Today we'll be looking at insurance cover for individuals, businesses and institutions that were adversely affected by what we describe the October 2020 violence in Nigeria. Best way to describe that. With me to have this conversation is Mr. Ekerete Ola Gam-Ikon, our regular guest on insurance issues, and insurance expert and management consultant joining us to discuss this. Good morning to you, Mr. Ekerete.
Good morning, Ottoabasi.
It's a brand new.
Thanks for bringing me here.
Yes. And one word for you looking at this whole experience: it has been a peaceful protest on ending police brutality, but it was hijacked by what has been classified as hoodlums and people who just took that opportunity to perform dastardly act, wanton destruction of properties, arson, and something that many have not seen in many years in the country. How do you describe that whole scenario?
It's a very sad time for us because lives have been lost, which are not replaceable. Some losses are just not irredeemable. Just not redeemable. However, we have to pick from where we can to get going, and that's where insurance comes in. You know, like I've always said, the purpose of insurance is to make the economy resilient. And I tell you, if we handle this very well, the insurance industry will expand certainly, and the penetration will deepen, because people have realized that if they had insurance, yes, the pain will still be there, but the relief will come faster, and a lot of other things will get back to what we know.
That brings me to a recent write-up from you as a regular column you write on insurance, which we really appreciate, and it's rich content for all those who are insurance experts, insurance students, people that really want to get further insights on how insurance has evolved in the country and even international players in the global insurance industry. The first part I would take is the fallout of the protest and the need once again to communicate the value of insurance in Nigeria. How do we do this again?
You know, the challenge for insurance, and I think it would be the single biggest challenge for insurance, is communication. So imagine for a moment if we were communicating on a weekly basis. The regulator, NAICOM, has got a communication unit. The associations, NIA, NCRIB, ELAN, and all of that have got communication units. Yes. And then we are in a time that communication has become easier, you know? Yeah. And so if we were communicating on a weekly basis, just going out there to let people know that insurance has got some benefits, I think the discussion will be different by now. Let me tell you specifically, insurance of public buildings is a law. It's been there, and it's been there for about 17 years now. You know, so it's not something that it should be discussed as if it's strange. It's been there So the challenge of compliance, the challenge of enforcement, what I'm careful with using, because we're in a democratic setting, it's really back to the issue of what have we been telling the people? What have we been telling the government? What have we been telling the public? So if we have been communicating, I think it would have been different. And so you find out that this communication needed to be to government. Let government know about the need to insure public buildings. Yes, government knows. Government is one that made the law, but sometimes government is overwhelmed by a lot of things that are going on. I would have expected that as we are setting up the panels for investigation and all of that, that the insurance people will be part of the panels, because we're going to be looking at those buildings now, the premises, and picking the debris and cleaning up and trying to ascertain what has been lost, what can be repaired, what can be replaced, and what was not insured. So the issues will be better handled that way. However, we now have a situation where these premises have been probably inspected by government and all of that, and then insurance will only go after everything has been done. And sometimes with insurance, you need to have been able to save the thing from further damage, or from further pilfering, and so to reduce the claims that we paid. So this is the situation, and so communication, to my mind, is something that we have to pick from here and get better at it. And we can't do it, so we need to get experts to do this with us as an industry.
Yeah, definitely.
Just this morning, we were looking at the report around the Sustainable Development Goals, where the senior special assistant to the president was saying that they need the partnership of media and consultants to help spread that message on the need and awareness on achieving the SDGs by 2030. So definitely insurance and like SDGs are very critical areas that effective communication will help to create the awareness for investments, for deepening and even implementation. And we take note of that. So communication is very key. Of course, everyone now is talking about insurance, so this is the best time to communicate it more. And I guess NICOM, NCRIB, and NIA are taking note of this, and they would really work around that. But, Mr. Ekerete, before this conversation, I told you that the opportunities for claims for businesses, institutions, and assets, and the capacity for the insurance industry is very critical in this time, particularly covering the RSCC, which I'd like you to explain a bit around the RSCC and this issue of the claims. Last year, when we had this previous conversation around the insurance industry, you said over 200 billion claims have been paid. So this year, definitely a lot of claims. And like you said, for those that have insurance, whether it's life insurance, individuals, buildings, public buildings insurance, companies and businesses that have insurance, there's respite, there's some relief in terms of the impact. I mean, the cars, like in FCT, we saw videos of cars in hundreds burnt down, and imagine all those vehicles insured and even across. So bring us to speed in that. I mean, shopping malls, hospitals, public buildings, houses, banks, even public rapid transport bus systems were also affected by this. And even on a lighter note, in Akwa Ibom State, an insurance company, notable insurance company, was burnt. And I was asking, don't people understand the value of insurance that we even burn down an insurance building? But just give us to speed to that.
Okay. So let me speak about who can make a claim at this time.
Yeah.
And the conditions under which you can make that claim. So if you've got a motor comprehensive insurance cover, for you to make a claim, it has to be that you had what we call riot, strike, and civil commotion extension, with your policy. And what that essentially means is that in circumstances like we have now, you will be able to make a claim from your insurance. However, for buildings and properties, we will be talking about fire and special perils, which comes with, to a large extent, coverage in that regard. But it's always necessary, as brokers will tell you, as insurance companies will tell you, to have it clearly stated in your policy, which is the contract you have with the insurance company. If it's not there, then you begin to have the argument about what special perils means. And so special perils is not something that should be confused with riot, strike, and civil commotion, because, I mean, it's the way it is. Civil commotion, yes, but that's not the same thing as flood. That's not the same thing as, thunder. So this, in some way, will, I would say carefully, reduce the size of claims as we expect. Because when insurance companies begin to look at the policy details, some people will be so disappointed that, yes, they had insurance, but you cannot get a claim because the conditions does not permit you to have a claim. And we're already having, such inquiries coming. I mean, someone has said to me, okay, the guy insured his business. This is an entrepreneur that is into telco. And unfortunately, the insurance company has already told him that that was not covered. And so you begin to then have the need to go back to the communication issue like we discussed. That means people must begin to be enlightened so that they don't come away saying insurance is deceitful, insurance is a scam, insurance is not sincere. When you buy Apple and something goes wrong, we should be discussing Apple, not orange. Or not, if we had known, we would have put mango in it. It's too late. So that's the kind of situation you have. And then you talk about the rapid bus transit system.
Because sorry to cut in, but because the ruling party,
the All Progressive Congress posted on their social media and the cost of it. Some would go for $200,000, some go for $100,000, and people have been worried and asking, I mean, if there was insurance, why would they have to make those estimates again to buy new ones and all that? When they're insured, they should be having insured.
No, Ottoabasi, I think I read that. Ottoabasi, I think I read that message, and the guy was
just indicating the value of those buses, and then for insurance, it will have to depend on the value that was indicated in the policy contract. I mean, the policy documents, with insurance, because that will be the basis of engaging to settle claims on those buses. And from information that I've gathered already, they were properly insured. I mean, with the full extensions to riots, strike, and civil commotion. Because indeed, when you have a broker that is handling your business, there's a fat chance that he will include that in Nigeria. We've had too many experiences in the past that has allowed us to be unduly exposed. Now, what I'm not sure of is whether the appropriate rate, the premium rate was charged. Because sometimes we in the insurance industry, the insurance companies have nailed themselves, by not charging the appropriate rates. And when things like this happen, I mean, you can't even have that discussion in a very strong manner with your reinsurance providers, because they are also going to say that if the rates are not very good, I mean, this is not the time for that discussion anyway. But let's hope that all was done properly, and then we can proudly as an industry, come back and make this payment and tell the world that this payment has been made, to reassure everyone that insurance is there for you when something goes wrong.
Definitely. And in terms of life insurance,
a lot of people lost their lives, even security forces officials. Some of them were killed in the line of the riots and the escalation of violence. Again, how important is it to communicate life insurance? And when you talk of the RSCC, the riot, strike, commotion, the RSCC situation, how important is it to expand this for institutions, businesses, and individuals to ensure that they can make the right claims when things like this occur?
When it comes
to live business, live coverage, I think it's a little easier, as painful as it is, to discuss that, because every organization is required by law to have a group life policy. And I do know that the security agencies, the security forces have that in place. I am aware they have that in place. and so the compensations
including the police.
Have to, yes, including the
Okay.
police. They have a very robust group life policy. However, for individuals, we're back to the same discussion about are you aware that you ought to have had a life cover? And some people that have died have died and have been killed are not people that were even aware of insurance in the first instance. But the issue then is, in the circumstance that they were killed or they died, would insurance cover it? The answer would be yes. Depending also on, it always depends, Ottoabasi, on the terms of the agreement.
Terms of the agreement, yeah.
You may not believe that because a lot of us do not read these policies, and someone was telling me last night that even some brokers do not even read these policies for their customers. That's sad, but it's the time for us to review everything and look at what we need to correct to then ensure that we have a better insurance industry in Nigeria.
Definitely. And the role of the brokers are very key in this regard. But what are the general learning points for the insurance sector from this whole development? What do you think the NIA, like you earlier said, beginning with the regulator, NAICOM, NIA, and NCRIB can do better repositioning the industry to cushion the effect of things like this? Because insurance has been the big discussion in the last 3 weeks since this whole situation occurred.
Yeah, I am also quite excited that it's become a big discussion because, like they say, sometimes it's better for your issue to be discussed, even if it's in negative terms, than for it not to be discussed at all. It's the general points, like you said, that the industry needs to address now. I must mention again, communication is so key. Communication is so key, and it's not just communication. If you even knew the level of information and data that the insurance industry holds, I'm telling you, a lot of government agencies will be looking to collaborate with the insurance sector to leverage on the information that the insurance sector has to do a lot of things that they have to do. Sometimes, we go around looking for the information that the insurance industry already has. And so the insurance industry has to do the work of, letting people know that we have this information, come to us and let's engage. So that communication issue is critical. Data is so important, and then we are in the digital age, for goodness sake, I do hope that before the end of the year, like we had heard before, that we will be able to see some portal being launched, for interactions on insurance and all of that. So this is the time to look at it. And we need to also, Ottoabasi, talk about the issue of recapitalization, because it's becoming larger than life, so to say. And you want to ask, by the time you have all of this capital, what would you be doing with it? Why can't we begin to use some of the capital, if there are companies that already have the capital now, to show how we will use it? And microinsurance, like we have also said in the past, is the game changer, believe it or not. So a lot of what we are experiencing with the level of protests, riots, and all of that, microinsurance in the first instance would have helped to save us from the kind of thing that we are seeing. I saw a picture of a warehouse in Jos. It's unbelievable. The number of human beings that are waiting to get something from a warehouse, because people have just been, kept in this state of poverty, when other entities, other environments have used microinsurance to better the lives of people. It's not enough to say we have programs. We need to sustain those programs. And the way to sustain those programs is to use, the tools of insurance. They are there, tested all over the world. So there's no point wasting time and moving around and thinking that we will get it right. And the moment this government goes, another government comes, and we keep trying to, address this issue of poverty. Insurance is a tool that can address it, and we need to embrace it and work with it.
Now, from the regulatory standpoint, we will expect NICOM to make a statement and give a direction. What do you like NICOM to do post this violence in terms of reinforcing the value of insurance and also pitching the microinsurance for small business, a lot of small businesses were affected, looted. And I mean, young people, particularly like this incident in Uyo Akwa Ibom State, was quite sad. Several young people lamenting the loss of their business, which they even took loans for, and same in Lagos and even down to Ondo State. Microinsurance definitely is one area that would have really helped. But from the regulatory standpoint, you've talked about capitalization, you've talked about the industry. What can NAICOM statement in terms of the pattern and steps they should take? How can it help the industry? Because in this time, they should give leeways also to insurance companies to even help support in claims at this time.
Okay,
so what I expect from the regulator, Ottoabasi, at this point is, as government to government, let the regulator engage, the government at the federal and state levels to create the understanding that insurance needs to be in the room where all of these discussions are happening, so that when we say buildings that were burnt, we will also say these buildings did not have insurance. And so going forward, whatever is going to be spent to, make these buildings come back, we need to insure them. And let me remind us that when insurance pays claims, all right, these businesses are able to continue to employ people. These businesses are able to continue to pay tax to government. These companies, these businesses are able to continue to create some sense of stability in the economy, So that is how insurance works, which people don't see. Okay, all right. So the regulator also has to deal with the issue of claims, and the specific claims that have come out of this situation has to be something that is separated from the way we've treated claims in the past, so that we can come out, like I said earlier, in the weeks ahead, we can come out and say we have received 3,000 claims, we have treated 2,000, we have paid, 1,000, amounting to this. Those are the kind of information that we need to push out now from the regulator's position, And I am sure, some of these claims will take very long time, because by the time you see it, you need to appoint loss adjusters to go there. So we have to also ensure that the loss adjusters that are appointed, are the ones that will get the job done, and we come back with that announcement to the public. So there is the issue of claims that needs to be, taken care of. And again, it's an opportunity for the regulator, to come back to the industry and look at the issues around the industry. Yeah. Because nobody prepared for this. We have survived COVID, hopefully,
Yeah.
And here we are. We don't know what will come next. So the industry has to be prepared. And then we are in October. It's the time that the insurance industries will usually begin to approach their clients for renewal of their businesses and the reinsurance for, other levels of protection that they need for themselves. So all of this has to go in, and you begin to look at, by December 31st, we're going to have, NAICOM closing their books in terms of companies that have recapitalized. Yeah. So it's not going to be about recapitalization only. It's going to be about what kind of reinsurance are you going to take into next year in view of what has happened this year. And that is where you begin to enlarge the market, because when it has happened the way it has happened, reinsurers are going to be interested in how you secure your future as an insurance industry.
Yeah, very, very important. Now, the House Speaker.
Right Honorable Femi Gbajabamila was talking about the fact that it may take about $1 trillion to even rebuild, particularly the Lagos economy, Nigeria's economic capital. I want to put you on the spot. You have the liberty to answer. Would you like to give an estimate of how much claims the insurance industry will have to pay across the country, because the disaster was running into over billions? So if it's nationwide, I can agree that we're talking almost $1 trillion plus to rebuild what has been destroyed.
But see, you know why you cannot put me on the spot? Because with claims and insurance, there are some claims as we speak that might take 2 years to resolve. Not because insurance companies are delaying, but if a manufacturing concern has been completely burnt down, for example, you don't even
Yeah.
have documents to show insurance.
Mm.
So you have to move beyond what you would have shown insurance to forensic. Are they places where they had kept documents? So do you recall, Ottoabasi, that we had the Ikeja
Cantonment.
explosion
Yeah.
some years
Yeah.
ago? Do you
Yeah.
know it took some cases about 3 years for them to be resolved after that explosion? You know, so sometimes with insurance, it's not like that.
Mhm.
And so if we begin to call figures now, we'll just be creating undue panic for people.
Okay.
But you know, the only assurance that we can give is, you know, we've got insurance companies in a condition that I believe a lot of them can come through. But certainly some will have to, you know, beg to be taken over by other companies to survive. That's the truth. That will certainly happen. You know.
There's more merger and acquisitions in the offing.
But what are your closing thoughts on the state of the nation and the insurance industry? You've talked about communication, the value of communication. You've talked about the need to review the recapitalization, a clarity from the regulator, NAICOM, on how they can use data to give us information on claims and number of requests or people are sending in terms of claims and how much has been paid. What additional things can we expect as we wrap up?
Until I see the insurance leaders in the room where the National Development Plan of Nigeria is discussed, before I will think we have taken insurance very seriously. You see, we believe it or not, we are spending huge sums of money where we should not spend if we had taken insurance into consideration. The insurance of infrastructure is not strange. It's there all over the world. So why do you build those things and then do the insurance as if you do not want to do the insurance? And then when something happens, you have to now go back. For a government that does not have money, you have to now go back and dig up money, you know, to pay. And talking about government and digging out money to pay, you know, when I heard the announcement that government was going to spend 25 billion out of the 75 billion for the National Youth Investment Fund, you know, I'm beginning to wonder, you know, whether insurance is on that journey with them. Because I've seen in the past where monies have been given to young people for one program or the other, and it's not sustainable. The danger is that when you give money to one person, you have created a minimum of 3 dependents for that person. So if that person doesn't have a life cover and he dies, then it means that you are trying to save one person, but you have sent 3 people into poverty. All right? So it's the same thing with a business that a young person is doing and as employed people. There's no insurance for the guy, and something happens to him, the guy is no more. Every employee in that company is going back to a state of, you know how we run our businesses. If a guy no day, you know, the business has to wait. I mean, we're not there yet. But we can use insurance, you know, to play a better, you know, book for our economy to grow. And that's what I expect to see going forward.
Definitely.
As we rebuild from the carnage.
Thank you very much,
Ekerete Ola Gam-Ikon. Definitely, as we rebuild from the carnage, insurance should be integrated in the whole strategy and plan. And it's an opportunity for every Nigerian to learn the value of insurance, from group life cover for companies, life cover for individuals, public buildings, insurance for public buildings, businesses, and every other concern. Insurance is very important. There's pain, but it brings relief, some level of relief, which everyone should know about. Thank you very much, Mr. Ekerete Ola Gam-Ikon, management consultant and insurance expert, for this very illuminating session discussing around insurance for individuals, buildings, and institutions affected by the October 2020 violence. And please stay safe where you are in this period.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you. And that'll be all for this conversation. For the Economy and Politics show, you can send your comments and views around insurance in this period of the October 2020 violence. How can we improve it, and what are the learning points? Send your views and comments to news@proshareng.com, and we are glad to receive them and respond appropriately. You can also follow Mr. Ekerete Ola Gam-Ikon on Twitter @Ola Gam-Ola. He's always there giving insights and nuggets on insurance and more to learn. Join our website, www.proshareng.com. When you get to the website, scroll to the left, the right side, and scroll down, you'll see insurance. We have so much rich content on insurance, and Mr. Ekerete Ola Gam-Ikon is among those that contributes to the rich content we have there. So much to learn around insurance in this period. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.